The Election Commission of Pakistan said in a statement that it has finalized arrangements for the first phase of local government elections scheduled to be held tomorrow in Sindh and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The commission said that law enforcement agencies, including Rangers personnel, will patrol the constituencies during the electoral process. Inter-Services Public Relations said in a statement that 2 terrorists were killed during an exchange of fire with security forces in Kulachi area of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Dera Ismail Khan district. It added that the militants were actively involved in terrorist activities against security forces. In a bid to conserve more energy, the Sindh government has revised business hours for Sunday to Friday across the province. The notification says that all hotels, restaurants and cafes shall be closed by 11 p.m., while wedding halls should be shut down by 10:30 p.m. The restrictions will last till July 31st. In an attempt to trim the budget deficit to revive the stalled International Monetary Fund program, the coalition government has reversed the 47 billion rupee tax relief in the next year's budget for salaried citizens. The tax exemption limit has been reversed to 600,000 rupee from 1.2 million rupees, whereas the fixed tax of rupees 100 has been replaced with a 2.5% tax for individuals earning between 600,000 and 1.2 million rupees. The government also intends to apply a maximum petroleum levy of 50 rupees per litre on all petroleum products, including petrol and diesel. This is besides a levy of 30,000 rupees per ton on LPG. The State Bank of Pakistan has dismissed social media reports suggesting that the central bank was issuing a commemorative banknote on the 75th Independence Day of Pakistan. The International Monetary Fund slashed its economic growth for the United States as aggressive Federal Reserve interest rate hikes cooled demand. The lending body, however, predicted that the US would narrowly avoid a recession. In its annual assessment, the IMF cut US growth forecast to 1.7% from 2.3% for 2023. With US stocks on track to mark their worst first half of the year in more than 50 years, investors are studying a range of metrics to determine whether the coming months could bring relief or more of the same. By any stretch, the first half of 2022 has been a challenging one for investors. The S&P 500 is down around 18% year to date, on track for its worst first half of any year since 1970. The United States Supreme Court took the dramatic step of overturning the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling that recognized a woman's constitutional right to an abortion and legalized it nationwide, handing a momentous victory to Republicans and religious conservatives who want to limit or ban the procedure. The court, in a 6-3 ruling powered by its conservative majority, upheld a Republican-backed Mississippi law that bans abortion after 15 weeks. Mississippi's law had been blocked by lower courts as a violation of Supreme Court precedent on abortion rights. India sent a rice and pharmaceutical shipment to neighboring Sri Lanka as the island nation battles an unprecedented economic crisis that has left supermarket shelves and pharmacy cabinets empty. A critical shortage of foreign currency has left Sri Lanka unable to pay for enough imported food, fuel, and medicines to meet demand since the end of last year, causing widespread hardship. India has also extended a $1.5 billion in credit lines to allow Sri Lanka to keep meeting a portion of its food and energy needs. And Friday's shipment followed a visit by Indian experts for aid talks. 2 people were killed and 14 wounded early Saturday in a shooting at a nightclub and in nearby streets in Norway's capital Oslo. Norwegian police says that the crime scene extended from the London pub by a neighboring club and onwards to a nearby street where the suspect was apprehended a few minutes after the shooting began. China's military says that the recent fly-through of a United States maritime plane through the Taiwan Strait deliberately disrupted the regional situation and endangered peace and stability. Spokesperson for Eastern Theater Command of the People's Liberation Army, Colonel Shi Ye, said in a statement that the military organized air and ground forces to monitor the US aircraft operation that took place on Friday. The United States, Australia, Japan, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom have launched an informal group aimed at boosting economic and diplomatic ties with Pacific Island nations. The White House said in a statement that the Biden administration has vowed to commit more resources to the Indo-Pacific as China seeks to boost economic, military, and police links with Pacific Island nations hungry for foreign investment. The hostel in Rwanda, where Britain plans to send migrants under its controversial asylum seeker deportation policy, is preparing to house children with the prospect of youngsters being sent there with their parents. Under an agreement struck in April, Britain will send tens of thousands of migrants who arrived on its shores illegally more than 4,000 miles to the East African country. Pakistan has reported 435 fresh COVID-19 infections and 1 death in the past 24 hours, with the positivity rate climbing to over 3%. Although most of the patients infected with the virus are experiencing mild symptoms, at least 87 patients are in critical care across the country. A UNICEF representative from Bangladesh says that at least 15 children have drowned in flash floods that swept through the country, with another 3.5 million urgently needing clean drinking water as the risk of waterborne diseases grow.